environment when attending from patient to patient. Next time. Now, as I told you earlier, infections in a hospital setting can spread by air or through contact. Next. Now, aerosol infections have been a major health risk. Moreover, with the appearance of influenza, pandemic influenza, and now avian influenza. In hospitals, when patients or people with different infections come together, the infections can spread very easily in a newborn unit, in elderly ICUs, in isolation units, in surgical wards, and in bone marrow transplantation units. The other point that I want to highlight now is that the patients admitted in these units normally exceed their stay for more than 2 days, and it ranges between 7 to 30 days. Next slide. The doctors who are treating the patients are at a much higher risk of getting infected with aerosol infections as they are exposed to those patients who come every day. And it also depends on the number of patients they see every day. Yes. Now, because of the occurrence of avian influenza, it actually highlights the importance of using an antiseptic that can prevent occurrence of healthcare associated infections in hospital setups. Next. Now, I don't want to highlight on this as my previous experts have already spoken about how this avian influenza pandemic is occurring from 2003 and it is still occurring in 2012. Next. This actually shows the number of cases of H5N1 in wild birds since 2003. You can see pockets of infections spread throughout the world. There are occurrence of cases in Africa, more so in Southeast Asia. These are confirmed human cases of H5N1 since 2003. I again want to highlight that the dark shaded portions that you can see there are the human cases of H5N1, and the occurrence of cases are more only in Southeast Asia. So which actually shows that the infection is spreading and the pandemic is still continuing. Next. Now this I want to highlight about the last pandemic that occurred in 1918 and 1919 where around 20 to 40 million people succumbed to the disease. So now this virus is able to evolve itself in a deadlier fashion than the previous occurring strain. So this shows that we need to take precautionary measures to prevent occurrence of infections further in the years to come. Next. Next. Now at present there are no available methods, safe methods to bring down the avian influenza viral load in areas of high risk. So what should we do? The need of the hour is an ideal hand antiseptic and an ideal aerosol disinfectant which will reduce the viral load in such settings. This agent must be able to sterilize the atmosphere at high risk areas of contamination. It must have powerful disinfectant capacity against most of the pathogens, not only influenza, the other pathogens also, and it also should be harmless to human beings. It must be easy to administer and it must not require any very expensive infrastructure. Next. So we decided to do a study on one such hand antiseptic which had no alcohol content. The available antiseptics in the market were all either iodine based or alcohol based or cresol based or chlorhexidine based. The study that we did had no alcohol at all, but it had high powerful disinfectant capacity. So what we did, we took a standard hand disinfectant and we did a study comparing it with this non-alcoholic disinfectant. Okay. Now this shows the safety level and the disinfectant capacities of the already available antiseptics in the market and the one in which the study was done. This showed a safety level and high disinfectant capacity on par with those available in the market. The additive value here was it was not a skin irritant because it contained no alcohol. Okay. Now how it acts, usually the, next slide over. Yes. The nucleus of the organism, whichever it is, it has, as I told you before, it has microbicidal activity. It has powerful antibacterial, antifungal and antiviral activity, and the mode of action is that the nucleus of the pathogen was dehydrated and damaging the nucleus and thereby killing the target organism. Next. These are some slides of the bacteria and the virus and the fungus against which it acts. Now this is what a study that was done in Japan. Actually, an interesting happening in Japan was that this disinfectant was used as a food additive in poultry, and finally they found that it had antimicrobial activity, and that kindled the interest. So we thought we will do a study to prove how much of antimicrobial activity and how safe this disinfectant is. Okay. These are all the charts that show that the viral load and the bacterial load of the organism decreases as the concentration of the disinfectant increases. Next. The methodologies are given in detail. I'll just rush through these slides. Next. Now, having this in mind that it is a highly powerful disinfectant working against most of the flu strains, it prevents the entry of the viral genome into the nucleus and also inhibits the protein synthesis necessary for viral replication. Next. Now, as I already told you, for prevention of infection by contact, WHO recommends that clean hands would save lives. So, clean your hands policy must be followed by all the healthcare professionals. It is the foremost measure to prevent any healthcare associated infections, including influenza. Next. Now, as I told you, the studies that have been done has already been done in Japan. Will this disinfectant be suitable for Indian conditions? So we decided to go ahead and next. In King Institute, we compared the efficacy of an alcohol-free citrate-based disinfectant with a standard alcohol-based disinfectant and did a bactericidal, virucidal, fungicidal properties under practical in vitro conditions. So the bacteria used were these, the fungus. Virus, we are again, this is actually a preliminary study. We are planning to do more studies on the antiviral properties of the disinfectant. This shows the contact application time, the activity the disinfectant has against the particular bacteria, and the reduction factor of the bacteria after it is treated with the disinfectant. Yes. Now, as I already told you, we worked against most of the bacteria and one virus, that is herpes simplex virus, and we found that it has an antiviral property, reducing the viral infectivity to 10 to the power of 8. Under practical conditions, using human volunteers, we are planning to do a study in uniform conditions. Next. These are the procedures of how the antibacterial activity was conducted. Next. So the benefits of this antiseptic was that it has no alcohol and it could be used as a continuous spray. It not only destroys the pathogen, inhaling or any surface contact with long term does not cause any damage to the skin or any other organs of the body. Next. Now this is just a brush through about where the hand disinfectant must be compulsorily used in all dental clinics, in all operation theatres and intensive care units, in burn units, in bone marrow transplantation units, in laboratories, in medical camps, isolation units and in tuberculosis wards. Now I conclude by saying that more studies must be done to prove the efficacy of any antiseptic, to see if it has antiviral activity, and also standardized procedures and conditions whether it can be used in Indian conditions. We are planning to proceed to do more studies on this antiseptic so that it can be widely used and also made for commercial production. Thank you.
Virologist and our former director to hand over the momentum to Dr. Shashika.